The Harrington family wasn't looking for adventure. They were looking for a detour. Paul had taken a wrong turn on the way to their weekend getaway in the Blue Ridge Mountains. With cell service dead and the GPS spitting out nonsense, all they had was a cracked road map from the glove box and the setting sun creeping lower on the horizon. His wife, Dana, was growing anxious in the passenger seat, and their twin daughters, Lila and Sophie, had long since abandoned their tablets and were now whispering spooky stories in the back seat. That was when they saw the sign, "Welcome to Black Hollow. Established Ayrıtı, Yenutçu, Nachbatemundru." The town seemed caught in a time warp. Weather-beaten buildings lined the streets like silent sentinels. Gas lamps stood unlit along the sidewalks, casting long shadows even in daylight. The air was thick, heavy with the scent of damp earth and something metallic. "Let's just ask someone for directions," Paul said, pulling up in front of what looked like a general store. Dana frowned. "This place feels wrong." But they were tired, and night was approaching fast. The family stepped out, the gravel crunching beneath their shoes. Inside the store, the bell jingled as they entered. An old man behind the counter didn't look up. He stood stock still, eyes glassy, as if he hadn't blinked in years. "Excuse me," Paul said. "We're a bit lost." The old man's head turned slowly, too slowly. "Lost?" he croaked. "Ain't no way out once you're in Black Hollow." Paul chuckled nervously. "That's funny. Really, we just need the way back to Route 59. The man didn't smile. Roads change. Hollow keeps who she wants. Sophie tugged at Donina's sleeve. "Mom, look." The shelves were lined with foodstuffs decades past their expiration, tins labeled in fading script. A jar of something pale floated in yellow brine, something that looked too much like a human eye. Dana pulled Sophie close. "Let's just find someone else." Back outside, they noticed the quiet. Not the normal kind. No wind, no rustling trees, no insects. Just stillness. Like the whole town was holding its breath. They walked down the street trying to spot another soul. Shadows clung unnaturally to corners, stretching and twisting. A woman appeared suddenly, standing at the edge of an alley. Her dress was grey and tattered, her eyes hollow. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered. "We're trying to leave," Dana said. "Is there a way out of town?" The woman took a shaky step forward. "Leave before the Hollow wakes." "What does that mean?" Paul asked. She didn't answer. Instead, her head twisted sharply to one side, bones audibly snapping. Her mouth opened in a silent scream. Then, without a sound, she vanished into the shadows. They ran. Back to the car, engine stuttering to life. Paul stomped on the gas, gravel flying. The street wound in a strange spiral, buildings warping as they passed. No matter which way they turned, the same decaying courthouse loomed in the distance. "We just passed that!" Lila cried. "Twice!" Dana pulled out her phone again. Still no service. The temperature dropped abruptly. Frost crept up the windows from the inside. Then the engine died. They sat in the stillness. Fog began to crawl out from the buildings, curling fingers reaching for the car. "There's a house," Paul said. "There, across the street." It was a large Victorian, leaning like it wanted to fall. Desperation beat logic, and they made a dash for it. Inside, it was musty, filled with the moth-eaten furniture and the scent of rot. But the door had a lock, and that was enough for now. They found an old oil lamp and lit it. Shadows danced on the wallpaper, which peeled like old skin. The girls huddled on the couch, while Donna and Paul searched for blankets. "This place isn't abandoned," Donna whispered, eyeing the portrait above the fireplace. A woman in black, her face obscured by shadow, her eyes scraped out. Lila screamed. They rushed into the living room. She pointed toward the hallway. There was someone there, watching. Paul grabbed a fireplace poker and stepped into the hall. No one. But the house had shifted. The hallway stretched farther than it should, doors multiplying on each side. A low creaking groaned above them, like footsteps on the ceiling. They barricaded themselves in one of the rooms for the night, a bedroom lined with cracked dolls and a rocking horse that moved despite the absence of wind. Paul stayed awake, watching the door. At 3:33 a.m., the whispering began. Voices, soft and childlike, crawling from inside the walls. "Stay, stay, stay." Dana sat bolt upright, eyes wide. "Do you hear it?" The wallpaper near the corner bubbled outward as if something was breathing behind it. One of the dolls turned its head with a mechanical click. Paul grabbed the girls. "We're leaving. Now." The door led to a hallway that shouldn't exist. The house had changed. Room after room stretched ahead, each more twisted than the last. One filled with cages, another with mirrors that didn't reflect them, and one with stairs that led straight into the ceiling. In the dining room, a long table was set for dinner. Every plate held teeth, some human, some not. They finally burst out the back door and found themselves not in the street, but in the woods. Black trees stretched high, their branches like skeletal hands. The air felt thicker here, like walking through syrup. Behind them, the house was gone. "I don't think this town is real," Donna whispered. "It's feeding off us," Paul said, "keeping us trapped." Then came the sound, a wet dragging. From between the trees slithered something tall and pale, eyeless, with 2 long limbs and a mouth that ran ear to ear. It wore a child's dress, rotting and soaked in black bile. It smiled. They ran. The creature followed in silence, except for the sickening slurp of its dragging limbs. Whenever Paul turned to look, it was closer. The trees opened into a clearing. In the center stood the courthouse from before. "Back again," Donna gasped. "How?" They ran inside, slamming the doors shut behind them. The interior was pitch black, the walls moving subtly like they were breathing. A courtroom stood at the end of a long hall. Inside, pews lined with dust and bones. Behind the judge's bench stood the woman from the portrait. Tall, faceless, black-clad. "You've been judged," she said, "and found guilty." "Of what?" Donna screamed. "Of trying to leave." The walls cracked open. Hands poured out, bony, grasping, dragging. Sophie screamed as one latched onto her ankle. Paul swung the poker wildly, connecting with a brittle snap. They fought their way out, the building groaning in agony. As they burst through the courthouse doors, the town changed. They were standing in the middle of an overgrown road. Morning sun filtered through the trees. Behind them, Black Hollow was gone. Only a wooden sign remained, rotted and leaning. Paul fell to his knees. "We're out," Dana whispered. "We made it." The girls didn't respond. Lila was staring ahead, eyes unblinking. Sophie was smiling, a wide, unnatural smile. "Let's go home," she said, her voice not quite her own. That night, in their real home, Dana tucked the girls into bed, unease still knotted in her stomach. As she turned off the light, Sophie spoke again. "Mom?" "Yes, honey?" "Do you think they'll find another family?" Dana froze. "Who?" Sophie giggled softly. "The ones in Black Hollow. The ones who stayed." The door slammed shut behind Donna, and from the shadows under the bed, something whispered, "Stay."